Welcome to my YouTube channel, Soul Velocity. Today we're diving deep into a topic that will separate your habits from your destiny. The title is Discipline versus Motivation. Know the difference. And I've broken this journey down into 10 powerful parts, each one built to challenge, stretch, and grow you. So buckle up. Let's begin with part 1. The illusion of motivation. Why it fails you when you need it most. Let me tell you something that most people don't want to hear. Motivation is a liar. It comes in with fire and fanfare, dances around your dreams, then disappears the moment things get difficult. Motivation is the guest who shows up to the party, eats the food, shakes hands with everyone, and then vanishes when it's time to clean up. You felt it before. That surge of energy that says, this time I'm doing it. And maybe you did for a day, maybe even for a week. But what happened when you got tired? When the applause stopped, when no one was watching? Motivation didn't stay. It packed up and left you alone in the gym, alone with your dreams, alone with your goals. That's the truth most people won't say out loud. Motivation doesn't last. It was never meant to. It was designed to ignite the fire, not keep it burning. And if you're relying on it to sustain you through your battles, then you're walking into war with a matchstick, expecting it to survive the storm. Now hear me carefully. Motivation isn't useless. It has a role. It's the spark, the energy, the call to action. But sparks die quickly. What you need is something that stays when your emotions don't. Something that keeps you moving when the weight gets heavy, when the road gets long, when the nights get quiet. That something is called discipline. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. It doesn't need the crowd to clap for you. It doesn't depend on the sunrise or the perfect playlist. Discipline gets up when motivation sleeps in. Discipline goes to work when your mood tells you to stay in bed. Discipline is the soldier that shows up, whether it's raining, whether you're tired, whether you're excited, or whether everything in you wants to give up. You see, motivation is emotional. Discipline is foundational. One fades, the other builds. One gets excited, the other gets things done. That's why people who succeed long-term don't wait to feel like it. They build habits that don't require them to. Steve Harvey didn't build his life on hype. He built it on grind, on prayer, on waking up before the world told him he had to, on saying yes to work when comfort said no. That's discipline, and it's not glamorous. It doesn't trend on social media, but it wins. So today, I want you to stop chasing motivation like it's the missing piece of your puzzle. It's not. The missing piece is consistency. The missing piece is a plan you stick to on the days you don't feel like it. The missing piece is making promises to yourself and keeping them. You don't need more hype, you need more habits. You don't need to wait until you're inspired. You need to move like you're already who you were born to be, because discipline doesn't ask permission. It moves with purpose. So if you're tired of starting over, tired of quitting halfway, tired of waiting for some magical burst of energy to show up and carry you to greatness, let this be your wake-up call. Stop waiting to feel ready. Start training yourself to be ready. This is part 1. This is where we shatter the illusion that motivation is enough. And this is where we start building something that doesn't disappear when life gets loud. Now say it with me. I don't chase feelings. I build foundations, because feelings fade. But discipline leaves a legacy. Part 2, the discipline blueprint, creating structure that serves, not suffocates. Discipline isn't about rigidity. It's not about waking up at 4 a.m. just because someone on Instagram said it's what successful people do. It's not about running until you collapse, working until you burn out, or measuring your worth by your productivity. No. Real discipline is about building a structure that supports your purpose, a rhythm that sustains your soul, not one that drains it. We've glorified hustle. We've made exhaustion a badge of honor. But true discipline doesn't kill your peace. It protects it. It gives you boundaries. It tells your time where to go instead of wondering where it went. It creates a framework so you don't get lost in chaos. Structure gives freedom. That's the paradox nobody talks about. People think discipline is the enemy of freedom, but it's actually the pathway to it. Without discipline, you're a slave to your mood, a slave to distractions, a slave to every urgency that shows up and knocks on your door. But when you build systems, routines, and rituals around your goals, suddenly you're no longer hoping to be productive. You're designed to be. Start small. Build anchors into your day. Maybe it's waking up and drinking a glass of water before your phone. Maybe it's writing your top 3 priorities before you open your inbox. Maybe it's choosing a 30-minute focus window where the world doesn't get access to your attention. Discipline isn't about doing everything. It's about doing the right things consistently. And here's where people go wrong. They build schedules they can't sustain. They overfill their days. They try to copy routines that don't fit their life. Then they fail, feel like a failure, and quit altogether. That's not discipline, that's punishment. Discipline is supposed to serve you. It should align with your values, your energy, your vision. If you're an early riser, rise early. If you're creative at night, build around that. The blueprint is not universal, it's personal. Steve Harvey didn't follow someone else's path, he paved his own. He built structure around his gift, his voice, his presence, his message, and the discipline came not from imitation, but from intention. So build your day like it matters, because it does. How you show up in your day is how you show up in your destiny. Your schedule is not just about hours, it's about impact. Design it with care. You want freedom, create discipline. You want results, create rhythm. You want peace, build structure that honors your limits and respects your purpose. Because once discipline becomes your design, you don't need to force success. You just need to follow your own blueprint. Part 3, the resistance within, how to move when you don't feel like moving. Let's talk about that inner voice, the one that whispers right when your alarm goes off. The one that tells you to skip the workout, to sleep 5 more minutes, to start tomorrow instead of today. That voice is not your enemy, but it is not your friend either. It's comfort masquerading as logic. And if you listen to it long enough, it will bury your dreams beneath your excuses. See, discipline isn't tested when everything feels good. Discipline shows up when nothing does. On the cold mornings, on the tired evenings, on the days you're emotionally drained, but the work still needs to be done. That's when discipline whispers back, I don't feel like it, but I'll do it anyway. We've been taught that if it doesn't feel right, we shouldn't do it. That's a lie. The most powerful things you'll ever build in your life, your body, your business, your character, will not feel good at first. Growth rarely does. And discipline is the daily decision to keep going without the emotional permission to do so. Let's go deeper. That inner resistance, that's your body trying to protect you. It's familiar with your patterns. It knows you've quit before, and it's just trying to keep you safe from disappointment. But comfort zones are just cages made of soft walls. They feel safe, but they're prisons. And the key to breaking free is simple. Act before you negotiate. Don't argue with your excuses. Outrun them. Don't debate your doubts. Move through them. Don't give your fear a seat at the table. Get up and walk before your hesitation convinces you to stay. Steve Harvey didn't build a global legacy because every morning felt perfect. He did it because he refused to be ruled by the resistance. He kept showing up when his bank account said no, when the stage said not yet, when the world said we don't see it, he still moved. That's the essence of discipline, doing the work when the applause is absent. Every time you show up in the face of resistance, you rewrite your identity. You become someone who does what they say. You build evidence that you're trustworthy to yourself. And that's power. Start by recognizing resistance for what it is, a signal, not a sentence. It's not a sign to stop. It's a checkpoint. And when you push through it, something shifts inside you. You grow stronger, more certain, more grounded. So here's your move. Next time that voice says, not today, respond with action, not arguments. Get out of bed, open the laptop, lace up your shoes. Take the first step, especially when it's the hardest, because that's the moment when discipline gets its roots. You don't wait for resistance to leave. You outwork it, you outrun it, you outgrow it. And one day you realize that voice didn't disappear. It just lost its power because you stopped waiting for your feelings to give you permission to live your purpose. Part 4, the myth of inspiration while waiting to feel ready will keep you stuck forever. Let me break it down real straight for you. If you're waiting for inspiration to strike before you act, you're already behind. Inspiration is not fuel, it's a flicker. It shows up uninvited, stays for a moment, and vanishes when the hard work shows up. It's inconsistent, it's moody, it's unpredictable. And if you're building your goals around it, you're building a mansion on sand. You know, it doesn't care if you're inspired. Bills, deadlines, responsibilities, your dreams, your purpose. They don't sit around hoping you feel like it. They wait for you to act, to move when you're tired, to show up when you're uncertain, to create when your mind says, not today. We've glorified the emotional highs and forgotten the grind that greatness requires. We tell people to wait for the spark, feel the vibe, or trust the mood. That mindset is a setup for failure. It trains you to wait, not work. And when you wait long enough, you become a spectator in your own life. Steve Harvey didn't wait for inspiration to get on stage. He didn't wait to feel confident before speaking truth. He practiced, he repeated, he showed up uninspired, unprepared, afraid, but he showed up anyway. That's what separates legends from the rest. It's not the flash of brilliance, it's the faithfulness in the boring. Think about a bricklayer. He doesn't wait for perfect weather to build. He lays one brick, then another, then another. Doesn't matter if the sun is shining or the clouds are thick, the wall gets built because the work is consistent. That's what your dreams need, not lightning, but layering. So how do you operate when inspiration is nowhere to be found? You discipline your environment. You commit to the routine. You remember your why. You stop looking for a feeling and you start creating momentum. You create habits that do the heavy lifting when your heart isn't in it. You write the script, even if it's not perfect. You record the video, even if it doesn't feel electric. You post a message, even if no one claps. Because discipline says the process matters more than the mood. And here's what happens. The inspiration you were waiting for, it shows up after the work. You don't find it, you earn it. It arrives in motion, not in waiting. The truth is, you won't always feel like it, but you don't need to. That's the secret. You just need to move, to trust that the actions done over time will become who you are. And once your identity shifts, procrastination becomes a stranger. Say it with me. I don't wait for inspiration. I create results. This isn't about feeling ready. This is about becoming someone who no longer depends on feelings. Because while others wait for inspiration, we build legacies in its absence. Part 5, systems over hype. Why winning is a daily design, not a mood swing. Everyone wants to win, but few people want to design a life that makes winning automatic. They want the result without the routine. They want the celebration without the structure. They want the fire without building the fireplace. Let's talk truth. Success doesn't come from hype. It doesn't come from watching 10 motivational videos back to back until you feel like flying. That'll get you excited, sure. But excitement isn't execution. Fireworks don't build bridges. Systems do. When Steve Harvey walks out on that stage, there's fire, there's presence. But behind all that is structure. Behind the charisma is calendar. Behind the voice is rehearsal. Behind the smooth delivery is a system that never misses, even on the days he didn't feel electric. Discipline builds systems, and systems protect your purpose from your emotions. Here's the thing, your goals don't care about how much you want them. They respond to what you've built around them. Have you scheduled them? Have you protected time for them? Do you have triggers in place that pull you back when life tries to drag you away? Let's break it down. You want to get fit? You don't need more motivation. You need a meal plan, a workout schedule, a gym bag packed the night before. You want to write a book? You don't need to feel inspired. You need writing blocks in your calendar, a target word count, a distraction-free space. You want to grow spiritually? You don't wait for the divine to fall into your lap. You build a quiet corner, set an alarm, open the page. Discipline doesn't guess, it designs. It says, I don't hope this happens. I plan for it to happen every day, because emotion is inconsistent. Circumstances fluctuate, but a system doesn't care about your feelings. A system shows up and does the work, whether it's raining or not. And let me be clear, your system doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be yours. It needs to fit your flow, your energy, your season. Don't copy someone else's 4 a.m. cold shower routine just because it went viral. Build your own rhythm. Test, adjust, grow. A system is like a riverbed. It guides your flow. Without it, water goes everywhere and nowhere. But with it, even chaos becomes direction. You know what kills more dreams than fear? Chaos. Winging it. Hoping today's a good day. That's not leadership, that's luck. And your future is too important to leave to chance. So here's what I want you to say. From now on, I don't chase the high, I build the how. Write it, frame it, live it, because hype fades, but systems sustain. And that's how you stop starting over. That's how you beat the cycle. That's how you win, daily, intentionally, and forever. Part 6, the power of repetition. Mastery is built in the mundane. You want to know where real success lives? Not in the spotlight, not in the big speech, not in the viral moment. Real success lives in the boring, the routine, the stuff nobody claps for, the stuff you do when no one's watching. That's where transformation happens. Let me tell you something, Steve Harvey style. Everybody wants the results, but few want the repetition. But listen, repetition is the engine of greatness. Not talent, not hype, not some magical moment of clarity. No, it's the daily act of doing what you said you'd do, even when it's not exciting anymore. See, the world celebrates the highlight reel, but God, He honors the grind. He blesses the consistency. He elevates the one who's faithful over the few things. Because if you can be trusted in private, you'll be rewarded in public. Repetition is where the pros live. Athletes don't just show up and play on game day. They drill, they stretch, they practice that same move 1,000 times. Speakers, they rehearse the same lines until the timing is second nature. Champions aren't born in chaos, they're born in the boring. You know why most people quit? Because they get bored. They think, I already did this yesterday. And they don't realize doing it again is exactly what builds the breakthrough. Discipline doesn't seek variety, it seeks depth. Let's be honest, repetition doesn't feel glorious. It's not exciting to do the same workout again, or write another paragraph, or say no to distraction for the 100th time. But repetition does something magical. It rewires your brain. It turns effort into instinct. It turns struggle into skill. It turns uncertainty into mastery. That's why I say, don't be afraid of the boring. Embrace it. Fall in love with the loop. Because the ones who make it to the top, they didn't get there by doing something once. They got there by doing it until it became who they were. Steve Harvey didn't just get lucky on stage. He earned his rhythm by repeating until rhythm replaced resistance, by telling the story one more time, by showing up one more day. That's what made him masterful. Not the moment, but the method. So I'm asking you, what's your repetition worth? Are you willing to keep going, even when it's not glamorous, even when no one's liking, sharing, or commenting, even when your mind says, we've done this before? Say it with me. I repeat because I'm building. I repeat because I'm growing. I repeat because mastery lives in the mundane. Because discipline ain't about doing new things. It's about doing the right things again and again until your future can't ignore you anymore. That's the power of repetition. That's how you win long term. That's how you make greatness feel like breathing. Soul velocity. This is legacy work. Part 7, emotional discipline. Leading yourself when your feelings want to quit. Here's the truth most people run from. Your emotions are real, but they're not always reliable. Feelings will lie to you. They'll tell you you're too tired, too late, too broken, too behind. And if you let those feelings drive your decisions, you'll crash every time. Discipline doesn't mean you don't feel. It means you don't follow every feeling. Because emotions change, but your assignment doesn't. Your purpose doesn't. Your goals don't. So if you let every emotional wave knock you off your path, you'll never reach the shore. Let's break it down. Emotional discipline is the art of leading yourself when your heart wants to sit down. It's showing up even when you're sad. It's delivering your best even when your day feels like your worst. It's standing tall in a storm and saying, I'm not moving. This matters too much. Steve Harvey had days when nothing made sense, when things fell apart, when the crowd wasn't clapping, when the jokes didn't land. But he didn't retreat. He stood up, straightened his back, and delivered anyway. Not because he felt like it, but because he made a decision long ago. I show up. That's emotional maturity. That's next level discipline. Not letting your inner storm cancel your outer progress. See, emotional discipline is what separates the committed from the curious. The committed say, I'll keep going no matter how I feel. The curious say, I'll keep going as long as I feel good. You want to live a life that outlasts your emotions? Then you've got to anchor deeper. Anchor in your why. Anchor in your faith. Anchor in your standards. Start talking back to your feelings. I hear you, but you don't own me. I feel you, but you don't make my choices. This sadness is valid, but I can still move. That's strength. Not avoiding emotion, but managing it, leading it, moving through it, because feelings are visitors. Purpose is permanent. And listen, there will be days you break down. That's okay. You're human. But even on those days, especially on those days, you can choose to still build, to still pray, to still write, to still speak. Not because it's easy, but because it's right. So say it with me. I don't let feelings vote on my future. I lead myself anyway. I feel it, but I don't fold. That's emotional discipline. That's what makes warriors out of the wounded. That's what turns storms into stages. That's what creates a voice that can lead others, because you've learned to lead yourself first. You don't need perfect peace to keep moving. You just need powerful presence. Soul velocity. This is what we do. We rise, even when it hurts, because the mission is worth it. And we were never built to live by emotion. We were built to live by Part 8, the decision to decide. Why clarity ends procrastination. Let me tell you something, plain and direct. Most people aren't stuck because they're incapable. They're stuck because they keep postponing the decision. They linger in maybe. They hover around one day. They camp out in the land of indecision. And that's where dreams go to die. Not from failure, but from delay. Discipline begins with clarity. Not clarity about every step, but clarity about the next one. The decision, the commitment, the line in the sand where you say, this is what I'm building. This is who I am now. And there's no turning back. Indecision is a silent thief. It doesn't scream. It doesn't punch. It whispers. It delays. It keeps you close enough to your potential to feel it, but far enough to never live it. And over time, that gap becomes regret. Steve Harvey didn't become Steve Harvey by waiting for certainty. He made a decision, a deep soul-level decision. I'm going to live the life I see inside, no matter how long it takes. He didn't need approval. He didn't need perfection. He needed a yes to himself, to his assignment, to his calling. That's the moment discipline takes root, when you stop negotiating with excuses and start declaring with confidence. When you say, I don't need to feel ready to get started. I just need to start. And don't get it twisted. Clarity isn't knowing every detail. Clarity is having enough vision to take the next faithful step. That's it. The fog doesn't clear until your feet start moving. The plan doesn't unfold until commitment is made. Let me ask you, how many ideas are still sitting on your shelf because you keep thinking about it? How many dreams are starving because you keep saying, when the time is right, that time you're waiting for, it's not coming. You create it with the decision to act. Discipline is just a decision repeated daily. It's the decision to wake up when you want to sleep. It's the decision to write when you want to scroll. It's the decision to keep building even when no one's clapping. So today, stop running from the decision. Make it, own it, write it down, speak it out loud, frame your life around it. Say it with me. I've decided. I'm done waiting. I'm moving forward. I don't need permission. I don't need perfect. I'm all in. That's the switch. That's the shift. That's how you turn maybe into movement. Because once you decide, once you truly decide, procrastination has no power over you anymore. Delay becomes disrespectful to the life you were called to build, and the world, it starts moving out of the way for the one who knows where they're going. So decide. Discipline follows decision, and destiny follows discipline. Soul velocity. You don't need a perfect path. You just need to take the next step with power. Part 9, the cost of comfort. Why discipline requires discomfort. First, let's be real. Comfort is killing more dreams than failure ever will. It's subtle, it's seductive, it's sneaky. It tells you you've earned the rest before you've earned the results. It convinces you to slow down when you need to speed up. It sounds like peace, but it's poison to your potential. Discipline is uncomfortable. That's the truth. It's supposed to be. Growth never feels good in the moment. Stretching hurts. Rewiring habits stings. But the pain of discipline is always lighter than the weight of regret. See, people say they want success, but they still chase comfort. They want the impact, but not the inconvenience. They want the reward, but not the routine. And that's the great divide between the few who rise and the many who settle. Steve Harvey didn't come from ease. He didn't rise from convenience. He walked through hard seasons. He sacrificed, slept in his car, bombed on stage, cried in silence, but he kept moving. He embraced the discomfort because he saw what was on the other side. Let me tell you, if you're unwilling to be uncomfortable for your dream, then your dream isn't big enough, because anything worth building will cost you your time, your energy, your ego, your sleep, your comfort zone. And you've got to ask yourself, is the life I want worth the life I have to leave? That's where discipline lives, in the decision to be uncomfortable on purpose, waking up early when you could sleep in, saying no to comfort food when no one's watching, logging off social media when your body craves the dopamine, showing up to the gym, the desk, the studio, when everything in you says skip today. Discipline is built in those moments when you choose your future over your feelings. And here's the beauty. Discomfort is temporary. It fades, it passes, but the character it creates in you, that stays, that shapes you, that makes you a person who doesn't just reach goals, but redefines what's possible. So I want you to get real honest. What's the comfort that's costing you your calling? Is it the snooze button, the Netflix binge, the endless scrolling, the fear of criticism? Whatever it is, identify it. Then start interrupting it. You don't have to flip your life overnight. Just win the small battles. Every uncomfortable choice adds up. Every time you say yes to the stretch and no to the shortcut, you rise. Say it with me. I embrace discomfort because comfort won't build my calling. I choose growth over ease. I choose future over now. I choose legacy over laziness. This is how discipline wins. Not by avoiding pain, but by giving it purpose. Not by chasing comfort, but by choosing character. Soul velocity. This is where your old self ends and the new you begins. In the discomfort, in the discipline, in the decision to become something greater than what you've known. Part 10, becoming unshakable. Discipline as a lifestyle, not a phase. Here we are. The final part. If you've come this far, you've already proven something. Most people never will. You didn't just want change. You were willing to work for it. And now it's time to shift the mindset once and for all. Discipline is not something you try. It's something you become. This is not a 30-day challenge, not a temporary habit hack. This is about identity. Discipline isn't a tool in your toolbox. It's the ground you walk on, the language you speak, the mirror you look into. It's who you are now. Let me put it plainly. Motivation fades, excitement fades, hype fades, but discipline becomes your default when you do it long enough. It gets etched into your decisions, carved into your days, and wired into your soul. You don't ask anymore, should I? You just do. You don't wait to feel like it. You just go. Not because you're forcing it, but because you've trained it. You've rewired the system. Steve Harvey doesn't need pep talks to perform. He doesn't need to scroll for inspiration before stepping on stage. Why? Because discipline lives in him. It's part of his blood now. It's not something he does. It's something he is. And you are becoming that too. You're no longer chasing short bursts. You're rooted in rhythms. You're no longer seeking perfect conditions. You've built inner clarity. You're no longer running from resistance. You've welcomed it as your personal trainer. That's what becoming unshakable means. It means when life punches, you don't flinch. When the schedule shifts, you adapt. When the emotions crash, you still move. Because you've trained too long, sacrificed too much, and grown too deep to fold now. And hear me, discipline doesn't mean you won't stumble. It means you won't stay down. It doesn't mean life won't hurt. It means your purpose will still rise above it. This lifestyle isn't about being rigid. It's about being rooted. Rooted in truth. Rooted in faith, rooted in clarity, rooted in who you were called to be before fear tried to rewrite your story. You want to be unstoppable? Get disciplined. You want to become undeniable? Stay consistent. You want to be remembered? Build daily what others only dream about occasionally. And now you don't just understand the difference between motivation and discipline. You live the difference. Say it one last time. I am not moved by moods. I am led by mission. I don't wait to feel strong. I train myself to be strong. I don't borrow discipline. I become it. That's who you are now. That's what Soul Velocity stands for. Not hype, not hustle, not temporary energy. Legacy, identity, discipline for life. This is your new default. This is your unshakable self. This is how you rise daily. And this is just the beginning. And remember, your discipline decides your destiny. This ain't just about motivation. This is about becoming who you were born to be. So keep building, keep showing up, and I'll see you in the next one. God bless you and keep rising.